All right, ladies and gentlemen, I went and got the toolbox because we are going to do this properly. Okay, so part one was opening the box. Part two, getting organized. Right, so we got the Allen wrenches, which I'll just take out, and put them over here. Garbage over there. And as we do this, I'm going to put these parts in these little containers and organize it, because I actually have some parts from previous builds in here, but there's also FTC parts in here, and it's never been organized. Okay, and I said, you know what, let's do this properly. Okay, so let's get to it. Now they have all the parts and all the names and all that stuff, right? And for your engineering notebook, you should put all of these, okay? But they have the pictures for you, and I put them online. This is the same instruction booklet that's online, but having hard copies that you can actually flip through while you're building the robot is a big deal. So we will just take this one page at a time. So this isn't actually going to be part two, get organized. That's what I'll be doing as I go through the video, is being organized. But this is going to be part two, which is steps 1 through 3. So opening the box, then steps 1 through 3. So this is really good because we're actually going to start right from the get-go. Okay, now it says R16. You can go back and you can look to make sure you actually have the R16 one. But I already know what they are because I have built the robot many times. This is trial, I don't want to say trial and error, but this FTC is far more complicated. I don't want to say complicated. I don't think it's that much more complicated. It's more complex, right? So it's because you can literally build a robot that could do anything. I mean, you could technically build a Vex robot that could do anything, but Vex is really more for little kids. Like, it's not, like, it says 14 plus, and FTC could be like a college level thing. You can make a battle bot in FTC. I mean, technically you could in Vex, but these are plastic gears, so there's only so much stress this will hold before it'll break. You can make an FTC robot that could do put a lot of pounds of pressure, hydraulic presses, all sorts of stuff you can get on an FTC. But you're limited with this. I mean, and I'm sure there's upgrades for Vex, and I've seen some Vex robots that are pretty cool. But it's just, age level, right? So this is 14 plus, but really 12 or 13. I could see even a 5th grader, 6th grader doing Vex robots. They would be an advanced 5th grader for sure, an advanced 6th grader. But I could totally see it. Anyway, so like I said, we're opening this up as we go along here. That's my first thing, and these are FTC parts. I don't see anything in here that comes from, so I'm just going to toss that in there. And this is going to be my first bin. Just like the first part that it's asking for. There's the garbage. And I'm just going to double check that before I fill this up with stuff, that there's nothing in here that I want for a Vex robot. And that is a negative. Those are all FTC parts, so you will be my first miscellaneous, because we don't do FTC anymore. Anyway, so here's the R16. And it's held like, this, and it's got a lip around it. So if you see, there's one side that doesn't have a wall, we can call it. And you're actually going to be up this way. Flip it around this way. Make sure you're following the picture. You can see. And this is the other thing, because all of the um, all of the robots in class are pre-built, so they usually have these on them. But I have found that they've been put in the wrong place, they've been moved around, they're disorganized, whatever. So now we got our second bin, and actually these look like more of those. Let me see real quick. Nope, that's not what that is. These might be FTC. Nope, actually those could be those. This could be a Xbox, so I'm not going to dump that one. I'll save that. This is definitely FTC. Yeah, this is possibly Vex, but the rest of this is FTC for sure. So I'm gonna dump that. This was from there. So now we got the buttons, which are over here. Push that back. I want to lose sight of things. There we go. Yeah, we're good. So, like I said, you're holding it out away from you this way. You're actually going one space, so just looking at the that, and make sure that this part is on the inside, we'll call it. And following the picture, it's not too complicated. And then we get a button down. Those are just the buttons. Are the brackets in here too? I don't see brackets. Oh wait, I do see brackets. Okay. So take out one. And just for the sake of being able to see it, I'm gonna dump it on the table because it's easier to grab it than trying to shuffle through the little bottom. And I mean, if you're in class, that's what you do. You just put it on a table. Make your life easier. But slide this through, and this is really nice because they're brand spanking new, man. So they're not in any way deformed. This is easy peasy the first time around. We gotta fight around corners in the older ones, so it's funny for me. But now that's it. And that's actually very secure. That the first time you do that, there's no wiggle there. I like that. So we rinse and repeat. Same deal. And you're skipping 2. So just count 1, 2 in the middle. The middle. So if you're looking at section 1, 2, 3, right in the middle section. So you're skipping the first one, and it's very clear in the picture. So I feel like I'm being redundant in saying that. I've always actually felt like I never made videos before because I always felt this is a very simple process, and it wouldn't have to be handled. But this year is a little bit different. I mean, obviously, the past years, because of COVID, we had online learning, but I was teaching kids who were from Humble, and so basically it's like, hey, you can't build the robot at home because you don't have the robot at home. And I wasn't going to set the expectation to parents that, hey, you have to go on the Vex website and you have to buy a robot for your kid. We teach Title I kids, so they don't really have the money to do that. So what I did was I just said, okay, you could do game programming, you can do web programming, you can do 3D printing, and if you do 3D printing, then you can create the model, send it in, and I will print it for you, and you can pick it up. And I had kids come pick it up, and it was fine. But now homeschooling is becoming more of a deal. I have online learners. I'm teaching kids how to get their GED. But I have my own child is homeschooled. and I have parents who are choosing the homeschool option. So that's one, and we're going to do two of those. So I have parents that have chosen the homeschool option, and they've asked me, that, hey, that's sort of where this channel has now come from, or organized to, because I didn't really have a plan for YouTube. It was just going on YouTube and, hey, check me out, what I'm doing, right? Now it's like, okay, I'm actually teaching, right? And so it's like, hey, what kind of robot do you recommend? Well, the Vex robot's good if you have a middle school kid, right? If you want to step up to FTC, I don't do FTC anymore, but if I had somebody who was interested in doing FTC and the YouTube channel started getting popular, and even if I could get a sponsorship or whatever, somebody's going to buy the robot for me to work on it, right? I would do that. Like, okay, I'll make you a video showing how to do it, like how to build the robot, how to teach kids how to do these things. And that's what I said. I said, hey, that's actually a good idea, right? So, on the part of the people who are watching the channel, watch the channel, right? Share and inform people, hey, so like if you have not subscribed to my channel right now, you should subscribe to my channel right now. And then tell people about my channel, right? And then, hey, now through the money that is being advertised on YouTube, I can then take that money and go buy a FTC robot and the parts, because it is far more expensive. Okay, I used to do donors choose, and I used to have different fundraisers, and I had to get businesses that would sponsor us so we can afford to buy the robot and the different parts and all the things that we needed, so that way we can compete at FTC. And my kids did, one year they came in first place. So we definitely accomplished the, fantastic goals, okay? And at first place for middle school, I just thought about it. I want to lie. We were going up against high schools, so there were high schools that came in first. But for the middle school division, of all the middle schools that were there, we came in first place. Anyway, so we got two of those. And, I actually had one person comment saying that I should play music in the background. And I do that for Hearthstone, but I actually got dinged for a copyright. Okay, so now I'm on step 2. Okay, I'm going to put the motor on for step 2. It's the opposite for the brackets. So on step 1, you put the brackets on the inside. On step 2, you're putting the brackets on the outside and making a space for the motor. So, but you're still skipping 1 in the middle, and then you're the first 3. So it looks like this on the outside, and you put the buttons. But yeah, I had gotten dinged for the copyright, and I use no copyright music, so it still allowed me to use it. It didn't drop the video, but it did give me a copyright thing. And so I know that YouTube is cracking down really on copyrights and is really taking a hard stance on it, which, hey, I get it, right? People have their proprietary stuff, and that's fine. So if I was going to sit here and play background music, it'd be on my phone, and I don't have any non-copyright music on my phone, so I would definitely get a ding for playing anything. And then it'd be like, the music in the background is not, it's been copyrighted. And then I wouldn't be able to use the video because it's in the background. So I guess I could look for something after the video is done, but that's a whole other thing, because I have to figure out how to, I know how to control, but I have to play with the volume to make sure that it's not overpowering the sound of my voice. when I'm actually showing you how to do something. So like now I'm on the middle one, and I wanted to get it lined up before I pushed it in. The middle one, you do not put, you only put the top one, right? So that's the first one, and that's in, okay? And now you're going to put the motor for the other two. So this one in the middle is empty because that's the one where the axle, we'll call it an axle, right? The axle goes through because it's what rotates when the motor rotates. So you leave the middle one empty, and the bottom one is now going to be empty for the first part because I'm going to use a screw that's going to go through there. But I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to put the final little bracket on first, and then I'll go back and do those things. Just because I'm on this part, those are more screws and whatnot, so then I'll have to clean this up and organize it. I might actually do, well, no, because I don't want to mess up which one is which. Yeah, because now that I'm seeing it, it is actually opposite. So I learned this earlier. So if you watch my other videos, because I'm not going to take them down, I'll leave those videos up. I'm just going to organize this into a playlist, and this will be the official build video. But you'll see other build videos on my list if you look. And that's when I learned, hey, this is actually wrong. Because I was making a video for the first time, as opposed to just, you know, winging it. That's what being a teacher is, man. You gotta wing it sometimes. But now I'm starting to get organized, man. It's I have now been in my position long enough, and did I just break that? Nope, I didn't. I've been in my position long enough now that I've built some stability, and I know that I'm going to be back year to year, and we're actually building something. So it's like, okay, now I can really get organized in what I'm doing. I got a lot of things happening I'm pretty excited about. Anyway, so let's get the motor. I had pulled the motor out. Where is it? And there's only 3 motors. Oh, 4 motors if you count the claw. Yeah. So now I'm learning 3 motors. Oh, because they had the extender. Because last year they had another motor on there, and I was like right now, I was like, do I have enough motors? It's like, yeah, we have a lot of motors. But I just had a lot of motors actually break on me in class. Like I threw 3 motors out. They're absolutely, the connectors got broken. That's the other thing with dealing with middle school kids is they're not ginger with things. Okay. So here's how the motor goes and in conjunction to the wire. So if I, or the metal chassis part. Okay, so the wire goes off to the left for step 2. Okay. And so you're actually going to line this up where the middle thread goes to the bottom bracket, and then the bottom thread goes to the bottom where you're actually going through the frame itself. Okay, and so I'm going to clean up my buttons, put them in here. And this is it, man. When you're building, be organized. Put things back in their space. That's why I'm putting them in here, because when I go back to class, I'm gonna actually put all the parts in this toolbox, so the kids will all have the toolbox, and you can just walk over, get the tools you need. If we're running low, hey, Mr. Hernandez, we're running low. Okay, let me put new ones in there. Okay, and this way there's no arguments, fighting. These look like FTC as well. Yeah, these are all FTC screws. Because I have had this year, other kids going through other kids' boxes saying, oh, no, we don't have this part, we don't have this. So to get on top of that situation, everybody's going to have all the same parts. They're all in the same place. They're all organized. There's no thing. Now, these are two separate kinds of screws, so I think I'm going to actually have two separate boxes. Even though I call them all the black screws, and then it's like, look for the long one, look for the short one. This is all FTC stuff. And so actually, some of that looks like drone stuff. Drones are going to need their whole other thing soon. That's okay. Yeah, I mean, because in school I have a lot of these different screws. So I think if I keep them absolutely separated, just keep it organized. All right. So I'm going to do, again, the bracket's facing me this way. The motor's going on the inside. I'm going to do the long screw first. Now, I use the Allen wrench that we have in school because, and I have reasoning. So this is a very basic Allen wrench, right? And it'll get the job done. But the problem that I have with it, because I have big hands, is that when I'm tightening it, then this little metal bar goes into my finger and it kind of hurts. It's not like it's, ow, I'm a big amount of pain and I can't handle it, but why when I don't have to? So we have a legit Allen wrench that I purchased for the class, and so I'm going to use that, and that's how it goes. So once again, we're going through the bottom, so I'm going to hold this so you can see. Put the Allen wrench down for a minute and line this up. So it goes like this, and I am using a long black screw for this middle piece here, okay? And I'm actually going to see if this is, if I need, if it's actually, let me real quickly, because I actually think, I just remembered that maybe it's not black. I don't know if, I'm doing it without, because I literally just had the thought, wait a minute, am I wrong? Yes, I am wrong. So the black one, even though it looks right, is wrong. The black one goes to the frame part. So if I'm looking, this thread needs the silver screws. And there, it looks like there's some, this is a mixture of FTC and wax. So I'm going to organize this a little bit. My first one is unorganized stuff. Now, this is actually garbage because this goes to Vex, but it doesn't have the middle part for tightening, so it's useless to us. This is Vex, FTC, and anything that doesn't have the middle part is not. I mean, I could use it for, see, that's the other thing. For FTC, you could use that. But I know it's not an FTC part. That's Vex. See, this is now an FTC thing because I could figure out a way to make this a useful thing in FTC. But because it doesn't have the middle black piece in the middle to, which is basically a screw that tightens the thing around it, right? Because it doesn't have that, I can't use it for Vex anymore because I need that for Vex. And none of these have them, which may be why they're in here. We're talking about years, guys. I haven't done this I've never actually organized this toolbox. It was originally for FTC. We got this toolbox for FTC because when we would go to tournaments, I had to bring tools. And I didn't have a toolbox, so I was like, I need one. And so I had the kids at that time. They just filled the box up, and this has been organized by children. It's not really organized at all. Now I said, all right, let me get organized. Now I am going to put all the silver screws in the same bin because I don't know. I just don't think I need a separate bin for them. the little ones and the big ones. Because I guess you use less of them now, and I realize there's only 3 motors per thing. I guess, right? But anyway, now that changes the game because the silver ones, this doesn't really fit. Let me see. Because I've been through this one. I've done this before. It's not my first rodeo, guys. Let me see real quick. So if I go to the first one, yeah, it does not really fit. I'm telling you that right now. Let's try it. Let's give it a go. So if I'm holding this the correct way, and I'm putting the motor on the inside, and I'm making sure that the middle thread is going through the bottom bracket, and I go right ahead and I slide this bad boy in and line it up. And I do a little bit of a finger tightening. There we go. And I use the first thread of the Allen wrench. Oh, actually it does work very good. Okay, I questioned if it would. Now we have to switch over to the one that they gave me. I've been using the one that they gave me, or that comes in the box at school. But once again, those are much older, and they're probably a little stripped. So we'll talk about that, children, okay? When you are screwing in these screws, okay, you're not building a house, guys, okay? And these are not power tools. And actually, it doesn't work that as well. It is kind of rolling around in there. It's not tight. So I will use... Well, this is the one I've been using at school, but let's get their official Allen wrench that they give us in the case. That's 2 days. There it is. Is that the one? No, that's 2 days. And so this is, this is, guys, this is what it is, right? So I'm going to take the one that I brought from school and put it over here, out of the way. But here's the first one, right? Boom. And now we just turn it, okay? And let me show you. This is. Let's see if I get real close on the video so you can see. Okay, make sure you're lined up. And we're just turning it. And now I see the plastic is tight, and the screw is in there. Okay, so we're going to stop right there. That's it. See, like I can't turn it anymore without a lot of, like, if I'm exaggerating, but like if, like I just said before, if I turn it too tight, I'll hurt my finger because this is gonna jam into me. You don't need to go that tight. I'm gonna tell you that right now, because you'll strip the inside of this, will take the metal off, and it'll just roll around and it won't undo. Every kid, they want to like Hercules tighten. It doesn't need to be Hercules tight. It's a Vex robot. FTC, you can use a drill. It's a whole different ball game. But this, if you tighten it too much, you'll strip it, and then it's useless. And I've many years been having to go get my pliers, because I have pliers, and I go to get pliers, and then I grab this thing with the plier, and I turn the whole piece to unloosen it, and then I loosen it with that, and I throw that screw away. And I have hundreds of screws because I went to a CTE meeting once, or seminar or something, and they had all these Vex robot parts and pieces and whatnot, and nobody wanted them. Okay, like the big boss is like, yeah, please take it. These are all the extra parts, and we don't have any place for them. Otherwise they're just going to sit in the storage room or wherever they keep them. And nobody jumped up, and I was like, I'll take all of it. I grabbed all of it. So I have huge containers in my classroom just filled with a bunch of these, tons of screws, all these things, which is what I've been going through, but I've noticed that I'm running out of some things, and so here we go again. It's tight, and we're done. That's it. No Hercules tightening, guys. Look, it's not going anywhere. It's nice and safe. Okay? So that's part 2 complete. Now we're going to do part 3. Step 3. We'll call it step. Now, this is wrong, okay? Observe the pieces. So this is wrong because this has 2 walls, no sides. It's not the same. It doesn't look the same. Make sure you're paying attention. And that's why I said before that I don't really need to know the names of the pieces. I can tell when I touch the piece and look at the piece that if it's the piece or not. And that's that. So, once again, skipping 1 in the middle. Okay, it's facing away from us, where the walls and the roofs and the sides are over there. We're going to put the buttons in. I'm going to be Superman and just feel with my fingers if I got the right piece. I mean, I know what it feels like, guys. It's not really Superman over here. I'm just making conversation, so it's not a boring video where I'm just, sitting here building a robot in complete silence. And, that's the thing I encourage my students to do. Okay, right? Like you're sitting there, have a conversation, talk with your friends. This is what being an engineer is all about, right? If when I was going to school and doing these things, I'd have my buddy sitting right next to me. He's building his robot. We're just jibber jabbering about whatever. Like, man, D&D, Magic the Gathering, StarCraft, Warcraft. There was no World of Warcraft back in those days. That wasn't until college. Actually, World of Warcraft officially, I think it did come out like my last year of college, but I'd have to look up exactly when it was released, because also the beta version came out, and I had friends who had access to the beta version. I had access to the beta version, but I didn't play it because I was trying to graduate from college. And I knew it would be a huge distraction. So I literally just ignored everything on the outside world in order to graduate. So I can get done with school. And it was a funny time in my life, but I grabbed the wrong piece. See, I'm not Superman. I don't even feel the piece I'm looking for. Hold on. That's the other thing. It's like, I'm going to feel around in here for a while and not find the right piece. I'll take 2 out because I know we're going to need another one anyway. But yeah, you got to know who you are as a person, man. If it's a distraction, you got to turn that off. So, when I was trying to graduate, so my college story is that I had changed my major to art. And so, like, anybody who was paying attention in the beginning of the year when I did my teacher introduction, I had changed my major to art. So I had been in school for a very long time at that point. When my senior year was like, all right, finally, now we're in senior year. I'm going to start all over again. Because I changed my major sophomore year or junior year of engineering. Officially, it was ridiculous. It was like I had gone halfway at engineering and then completely reversed and started all over in art, which of course my parents thought I was crazy, but I did it. And so it was like, all right, let's get graduated already. And so I had the opportunity to get it all done if I crammed it all into one semester and just ended it. But in order to do that, it was like no distractions. I can't party. I can't hang out with you. I can't do anything. I'm just trying to get done with school, because otherwise it would have been, how much more, like another 10, 15 grand? It's like, I can't incur any more debt. I got to get out of here, man. And I just noticed I did it wrong. Okay, but that's okay. I'm going to fix it. All right, so I did it backwards. Did I do it backwards? Yeah, I did do it backwards. So on the middle one, I put it to the top, and it actually needs to go on the, like here. So from left to right in the middle, if I hold it this way. But if you're looking at the motor, because the motor wire is going to go this way, so it's to the left, right? Because the other one's the wire's going to the right before the wire was going to the left. So it's actually the opposite, but that's fine. I just can take this out. And do I have a tool in order to do that? I don't have I am going to do dangerous stuff, but don't you do dangerous stuff, children, because you're children. And that's try to remove the button with scissors. And it's not dangerous because I'm afraid I'm going to cut myself. It's dangerous because I might cut the button and break the button. But if I break the button, it's okay. I have other buttons. You should use the screwdriver, flathead screwdriver that's in the classroom. But I don't have it here because it's in the classroom. But there's the button. And it can be done with scissors. It's not like I'm afraid you're going to cut yourself, because I don't think you will. But you could potentially break the button. But because the button's brand new, I have faith that it wouldn't break. And it didn't. So I was right. Now we're going to put it through this side, which is the bottom or the left. Pop it. Here it is. And there we go. Nice and in there, nice and done. So we're going to grab another motor out of the box. And this is a 36-minute video, which is actually not bad. 36 minutes, you have one class period. And you could have steps 1, 2, and 3 done. Because we have an hour in class for anybody who's watching from home. Now, if you're home and you're homeschooling, you can literally, I'm looking at it in the wrong direction. Okay, there we go. That's the correct direction. The wire is now going to the right. The middle goes to the bottom, right? So I leave a hole for the axle. Excellent. And now we need a long silver screw. And I'm guessing that when I'm done building this robot, I won't have any screws left to be organized, but I'll know what goes in there when I get to school. But I don't know, I might have an extra screw, because why wouldn't they give me an extra one? I do have another robot, so technically I could take that one apart and put the pieces in there, but I don't think I'll do that. I think I'll leave it for the first group of children that, when I run out of robots in class, and you always want to have it's good to have a spare robot. Like I'll probably, they give us about $1,000 a year, which is $500 a semester, so I'll get another $500 next semester. And I will buy 2 more robots. But once again, we don't want Hercules tight on here. So you just keep going until you see the plastic is tight, and you'll feel it. It'll be tight, right? Because like right there, I can't turn it anymore without Hercules strength, so I'm just going to leave it alone. And I'm exaggerating. It's not Hercules strength. Just don't be trying to put it on so tight, man. It's a little robot. It's just a little guy, okay? He's not. I mean, this is a plastic motor. That tells you everything you need to know. It's not a super strong machine. And I have motors that literally that break, and they're not able to lift up the claw anymore, and the claw's too heavy for it. So it tells you everything about these robots. They're not, they're the little tykes of robots. And then there's FTC, which is a little bit higher level, and then there's FRC, which is the big boys, the real crazy guys that you can make a robot you can drive. Iron Man. All right, that's done, right? So I have one motor wire going left, one motor wire going right. Nice and on there, nice and tight. That's steps 1, 2, and 3. Completing part 2. I'm just going to move these tools out of the way so I can have the one Allen wrench I know I definitely need on there. And that's it. Part 2.